Welcome back. I'm Rob. This is Bite Size, where we try to take complicated concepts and make them just a little bit easier to swallow. Regularly, I get a lot of questions, usually in the comments or directly messaged to me. A lot of them have to do with Theta, especially with the mainnet coming up here in just a couple of days. So with this episode, we're going to take a direct look at some of the most frequently asked questions in preparation for mainnet 3.0. Hey fellow Thatians, I appreciate you joining me. So as I mentioned, I get a lot of questions specifically about the edge nodes and should I be staking with this group or that group or running my own or what's the hardware requirements or things along those lines. So today we're going to take a look at some of those frequently asked questions. One of the first that I get on a very regular basis is how do I go about buying Tfuel or Theta, especially here in the United States? Which can be a little bit more difficult, though is starting to become a lot more useful in the past couple of weeks due to the fact of the addition of crypto.com, and we can only hope that a Coinbase listing might be coming at some point in the very near future. The first thing we need to do, though, if you want to purchase any sort of Tfuel or Theta, is to get yourself a wallet. Now, the easiest way to do that, just go to Google or any other website, and then type in the thetatoken.org. So, thetatoken.org, and from there click on wallet. You'll see it up in the very top. From here you've got a couple of different options. You can set it up using mnemonic devices, or you can use it with a hardware wallet, which I strongly recommend. But to create a new one, go down here where it says create wallet. And then you're going to input a password, some sort of a keystone that's going to actually be used to create this wallet. So you're going to download your keystone. That file will be downloaded to your computer, but the most important portion is this guy right here. So this is your mnemonic device. This phrase is your private key. This is the most important thing. That file that you downloaded and those words right there. Don't ever show that to anyone. In fact, if you need to, turn off your internet while you're doing this step. It'll work just fine without it. But once you have that set up, grab that 12 phrases and paste them in where it asks for the mnemonic device. You can then put in some sort of a password. From here, you're going to be able to unlock your wallet for the very first time. Now, this isn't a real wallet. This is just one I created for the purposes of the video. But your wallet address is listed right up here at the very, very top. You can now copy this and then use it for pasting in and staking and dropping in and depositing all of your Theta. Now, in order to get your Theta or your Tfuel, I recommend using a site like a Coinbase. You can get it on crypto.com now, but from a Coinbase, what you do is just simply sign in. From here, you're going to be able to locate a coin that you can do a trade on. Now, I prefer to use ADA. It's one of the other ones that I really believe in, but Stellar Lumens is also one that's been highly recommended. But here you can select however much of that ADA or Stellar that you want, and then you're going to locate a DEX. This is a decentralized exchange. In this case, Change Angel is a good option. There's also a bunch of other ones, Simple Swap, and I'll leave a list of a couple of them in the comments section or the description of the video. But at this point, you can put in however much you want, and let's do 100 ADA, and I'm going to select that I want to switch it over to Tfuel. So at my current conversion, that means I'll get 305 Tfuel. I'm going to hit exchange, and it wants to know what is the Tfuel address, and that's the address that we just created in the last section. So I'm going to go ahead and post in my address, and then I'm going to put in my ADA address. So this is where that's coming from. If you go into your Coinbase, you'll be able to see where that's coming from. And then from here, I'm going to click on that next button down at the very, very bottom, and we will transfer. And it is literally that simple. So the second question that I get, though, is should I buy Tfuel or should I buy Theta? I don't speculate on that sort of thing. The purpose of this channel is not to try to be any sort of a financially advice thing, and obviously we can't provide financial advice. This is purely for entertainment and education. But legitimately, you can't go wrong with either one of them. You're probably going to see some short-term gains on one and long-term on the other. A better question, though, is should I stake Tfuel or should I stake Theta? And here's my take on it. So I did an entire video on mainnet 3.0 and specifically on how golden ratio would come into play. You can check that video out in the headline description. This is a calculator that I built based off of that. I've modified it slightly from the original video, but let me walk you through this one very quickly so you have an understanding of it. Effectively, the way that Theta and Tfuel from a staking standpoint work out is you're going to be paid out in Tfuel regardless. Theta is given an inflation rate of 5%, whereas Tfuel is given an inflation rate currently of 4%. Right now, about 60% of Theta is staked, whereas only about 12.5% of Tfuel is staked. The more of the one that is staked, the lower the APR is on it. As of today's prices of $7, for 1,000 Theta, you're looking at a $7,000 investment. Tfuel at 43 cents, 10,000 Tfuel, you're looking at a $4,300 investment, so a significantly lower investment. Due to the fact that you only get 1,000 Theta per stake and 60% of it is currently staked, you're only going to get 37 Tfuel monthly. Whereas in staking on Tfuel currently, because you have to do 10,000 Tfuel and there's only 12% of it staked, you get 267 Tfuel monthly. So right now, you have a better return of about 32% if all else stays the same of staking Tfuel than Theta. However, this is only for this specific moment. The amount of Tfuel that's staked could skyrocket, and these could very, very quickly switch. So for right now, you're better off staking Tfuel over Theta. That can change drastically into the future. And if you want, there's an entire video that I go into on what exactly the golden ratio is and how the Tfuel and Theta balance each other out. And you can check that out in the link over here. One of the other questions that I get on a regular basis is, what sort of hardware do I need in order to set up an edge node? And the answer is not much. But let me start by showing you my entire crypto rig. So this is the entire crypto rig that I have downstairs, and this is a lot more than just an edge node. I dabble in all sorts of cryptos, everything from mining and staking to trying to set up a pool operation, proof of work and proof of stake and proof of storage setups. But if you notice at the very, very top, there is actually this guy. So this is actually my edge node. And it is just it's a 9-year-old laptop. It's a dual core. It's an i5 processor. It's a 2000 series i5 processor. It's got 4 gigs of RAM, not a significant amount of storage on it. It doesn't even have a working monitor. The monitor is actually broken. I connect into it via Teamviewer, which I'll leave a link for down below if anybody wants to check that out. But as long as this has been able to be connected to the internet 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and has a stable internet connection, that's really the most important aspect of setting up an edge node. Now, the rest of the hardware that's on that crypto rig eventually will get changed over as the Theta network continues to grow. But for right now, I'll keep dabbling in other things. The next question that I get is, okay, good. I'm signed up. I got the hardware available to me, but how do I set up the edge node? Well, luckily, that's not too hard. The first thing you need is to get a wallet. So we did all the wallet stuff before. If you need a refresher on that, just click back about 4 minutes or so and you can get a refresher on what we did. But now we're ready to download the software. So go to the main Theta website, click on the Join Today button, or just scroll down. You'll see the Theta Guardian node and the Theta Edge node, and the Edge node's the one that you want. From there, click on whatever operating system you're running on. You can download and set up an Edge node on Windows, Mac OS, or right now they just released the Linux version of it. The download can take a little bit, so just get ready to sit back for a second or so, and as soon as it's downloaded, you'll be ready to fire. Once it's good to go, just click on the link, and your file begin to open up. Once you've installed the Edge node software, I'm going to show you how to set it up so it starts up every reboot. Find the shortcut, right-click it, and go to Properties. From here, you'll be able to pull up a window that has a link of where the software is actually installed on your computer. It should be C drive, program files, or C drive, my documents, depends on where you selected to have it loaded up. Grab the entire folder path and copy it. Once you've got it copied, go down to your Start menu and go to your Task Scheduler. You can just type it in and it'll pull it up. From here, you want to create a basic task. You usually find it in the top right-hand corner. I'm going to call this one Theta at Startup. I want the system to set it up so that every time the computer boots up, Theta is going to launch. Which, right here, I can say I want this to trigger when the system starts up, and what do I want to have it do? I want it to start a program. What program? Well, here's where I'm going to paste that folder path for where the Theta Edge node software is located. You may need to make a couple of tweaks to make sure that it's happy with the folder locations, but when you're all set, just hit finish and you're ready to go. One of the other things I strongly recommend is I ended up going into my BIOS and I located the Restore on AC Power Loss option. This is set up so that every time the system has a power outage, let's say I lose power to my entire home, when the power comes back on, the computer will automatically reboot, and because it'll start Theta when it starts up, the Edge node will be back up and running. I also really recommend the use of Teamviewer. It's a free software that you can download and lets you be able to monitor the Edge node or any other nodes that you have set up from any remote location. It can be another computer or even a tablet or a cell phone. Now, one of the other questions that I get quite regularly is, would it be beneficial for me to set up multiple nodes? I've got more than one computer. Can I do that? So you can do it. However, understand that the way that the Theta system is structured is that you're getting rewarded for transferring data from one node to a different node in a different location. So if you have more than one node set up on the exact same network, they're just going to battle with each other for the available contracts or the available transfers that might be out there. So you're not going to make additional edge cache from having additional nodes set up on the same Wi-Fi or the same network. If you have a VPN set up, that could be a little bit different, but I'm not going to get into that for the purposes of this presentation. The other thing is on the staking side. You're actually going to get the exact same if you staked 10,000 Tfuel on one node and 10,000 on another, or if you staked 20,000 on a single node. The only benefit you might run into would be maybe a little bit better uptime if you've got a likelihood that one of the computers may go down more than another. And if that is the case, my suggestion would be get rid of both computers and maybe get something a little more stable. Okay, so we took a look at a lot of different FAQs leading up here to Mainnet 3.0 launch in just a couple of days. I'm really excited, but if we missed something that you're interested in, leave a comment down below. Be happy to answer the question as we get ready to launch. If this is your first time joining me, I appreciate it. Consider liking or subscribing to it so we can bring additional content out to you in the coming weeks. I appreciate it, and to the rest of the Thetians out there, thanks a bunch. Hold on, it's going to be a very interesting week.